The movie opens with a Russian man being approached by his daughter who has just arrived home from school. As his daughter is old enough, he gifts her a wedding ring that belonged to her mother who passed away long ago. He reminds her to wear a dress for the evening party. As his daughter leaves, suddenly, an assassin appears behind him and takes his life instantly. His daughter panics after seeing him get murdered, and she also gets shot in the shoulder. She flees the mansion to get help from her uncle. Unfortunately, she loses her life shortly after, and her uncle mourns her death. 7 years later, an assassin named Morgan is hired by Caldwell to kill Lacek, who runs the largest human trafficking operation in all of Europe. Morgan prepares his sniper rifle and is ready to strike Lacek's head, but when he is about to fire, suddenly he gets shot in the hip by one of Lacek's men. As Lacek and his men become aware of Morgan, they rush to the building to end his life. Morgan, who is deeply injured, tosses smoke grenades to delay Lacek's men, and he manages to eliminate a few. He falls off the building and lands safely on the roof of a car. However, he proceeds to use the car for his escape, but the tire is blown off by Lacek's man, causing the car to collapse. Surprisingly, they find that Morgan is no longer in the car, and eventually Lacek can't escape from his fate and is shot dead right away. Upon arriving at the hotel, Morgan treats his wound, and Caldwell is glad that he has finished the job perfectly. However, it didn't go as well as Caldwell thinks, and later it is revealed that the man who shot Morgan was not one of Lacek's men. Morgan informs Caldwell that there was a third party involved, and that same man also shot Lacek. Nonetheless, Caldwell has another big job for Morgan, and they will talk when Morgan returns to him. After finishing treating his wound, he gets a phone call from his girlfriend Sophie, who is worried and hasn't been able to sleep well since Morgan left. In Paris, Agent Voss and her team investigate Lacek's death. She assumes that Lacek was killed by a professional contract killer with a military background. She arranges for her team to work with local authorities, as it is currently the best option. At Morgan's apartment, he checks his security cameras that are placed across the city to see if anything happens on the street. As he sees a lady buying food for a homeless man, he is glad that there are still good people in the world. He then goes to get Sophie when her teaching session is over. After being apart for many days, he warmly hugs her and also gets a crystal for her. Later that night, Sophie notices a wound on Morgan's hip, which greatly worries her, as every time Morgan goes out to do his job, he always comes back with bruises or cuts. However, Morgan assures her that he will always be there for her no matter what, and eases Sophie's worries. The following day, Morgan meets up with Caldwell at the restaurant to talk about their work. Caldwell has 6 more contracts for Morgan to complete, and each contract pays $1 million. But Morgan proclaims that he quits doing this because he now has a life and enjoys waking up to see the sunrise. Caldwell convinces Morgan to accept this offer, as it could set him up for life. However, Morgan agrees to receive this job one last time because he has worked with Caldwell since he was young and doesn't want to break their bond. Later, he takes Sophie shopping at Walmart, and they have some romantic time together. She suggests that Morgan meet her parents for once, as they are tired of hearing stories about him that Sophie always tells them. While walking, a man suddenly sneaks up and attempts to assassinate Morgan. Fortunately, Morgan is aware of him, and they immediately get into a fight. The brawl ends when Morgan takes the man's life, which greatly shocks Sophie. Morgan then takes photos of the man and his tattoos and quickly gets Sophie out of there. Sophie is traumatized by what she just experienced. However, Morgan comforts her and explains that she is not safe with him right now. He needs time alone to figure out why someone is after him. Morgan furiously yells at Caldwell to see the contracts threatening to kill him if he rejects. He clarifies to Caldwell that it is the second time there has been a targeted hit on him. Morgan goes to see Caldwell and provides a photo of a man who tried to kill him. Caldwell points out that the man is Alec Dracos, a mercenary who Caldwell believes also shot Morgan in the hip during the mission to kill Lacek. Later, Morgan discovers that Dracos is one of his 6 contracts after Caldwell reveals that he will send Morgan $1 million to his account. However, Morgan still has 5 more contracts to complete, and Caldwell decides to leak the secret that the other 5 are also assassins like Morgan and have been hired to kill him. Caldwell wishes Morgan the best on his mission and gives him a file to find out who the other assassins are. Morgan discovers that those 5 assassins have highly skilled assassination abilities. Ryder is a ruthless psychopath known for collecting a finger from each of his victims. Pablo Martinez is a poisoner. Yuko is deadly with blades and in close combat. Demir is an opportunistic sociopath. The last one is unknown, a legendary and problematic figure with no clue about his identity or appearance. Morgan has to confirm each kill by sending their fingers to a postal box in Paris. Morgan then gets ready and gathers his weapons to finish this mission as soon as possible. He places a GPS on the ground which will track whoever steps on it, and also installs security cameras in every corner of his house. At the prison, the unknown assassin is revealed to be a woman named Falk. There, she assassinates the other assassin, Demir, and immediately cuts off his finger. Elsewhere, Inspector Leon receives a package and gives it to Dr. Pierre, discovering that it is Demir's finger. However, the daughter of a Russian man who was killed by the assassin early in the movie Sophie is still alive and goes by the name Jonah. Leon approaches her to inform her of the death of assassin Dracos, but Yana already knows this. Leon gets blamed for not having information about the other assassins, as Jonah has already provided him with detailed files on all of them. Later, Leon is knocked out and captured by Morgan. He is being questioned about the package he received earlier and who he works for. Leon lets Morgan know that the package contained a finger. He reveals that they published a fake obituary just to confirm receipt, and Leon was contacted to work anonymously. After receiving the information he needs from Leon, Morgan begins searching more about him. At the same time, he gets a phone call from Falk, who wants him to team up with her to kill the person who hired them. Falk slowly realizes that the person behind this setup wants to get rid of all the assassins. Morgan also points out that they might want the assassins to feel the consequences of what they have done. Falk gives her contact information to Morgan in case he agrees to team up with her, and she also provides him with the location of Pablo Martinez. Suddenly, Morgan recalls Caldwell, who was very detailed about Dracos back then, so he starts searching for Dracos's background and finds a photo of Caldwell and Dracos together. He then goes to confront Caldwell about his relationship with Dracos, and Caldwell is the one who sent Dracos to kill Morgan. Caldwell tries to explain that it was the game that set them up against each other, and he had no choice as he also works under the high table. The reason Caldwell set him up with Dracos is that he knows Morgan is never going to lose to him. Later, Morgan discovers that Caldwell also knows Falk, and he warns Caldwell that Falk is going to come looking for him. While on the way to kill Martinez, Morgan receives another phone call from Falk, and it is revealed that Agent Voss is actually Falk, who has two identities. Falk has tracked down the source of the $6 million contract money and has discovered that it is linked to the gas pipelines, a billion-dollar industry run by Marius, who is Yona's uncle. Marius has hired assassins to eliminate anyone who stands in his way, allowing his company to thrive and be awarded every major construction project for the past decade. Marius is also responsible for killing Yona's father, Yakov. Falk believes that Yona might have discovered her uncle's actions and seeks revenge for her father. Morgan speculates that Yona may have traced her uncle's money to all the assassins, suggesting that Yona is the one who set them all up. However, Morgan is not entirely certain. After arriving at Martinez's location, he prepares to strike, but when Morgan sees that Martinez has a daughter, he chooses to learn more about him instead. Later, Morgan learns that Martinez did not receive a contract to kill the assassins, and the last person he killed was 8 years ago. Martinez opens up about his last job, which took place in Plague. On that day, he poisoned a man, but the dosage was too weak, resulting in the victim being hospitalized for 18 days. The man's hair fell out and his throat was cut to help him breathe. Since then, Martinez has regretted what he did and quit that line of work. Morgan also informs him that someone has set them up against each other, and he needs as much information as possible from Martinez to find out who exactly set them up. Later that night, the assassin Yuko sneaks into Martinez's house and is confronted by Morgan. They get into a fight during which Yuko manages to gain the upper hand. Just as she is about to end his life, fortunately she is shot dead by Martinez. However, Morgan cuts off Martinez's finger and sends it to a postal box to keep him away from the killer. At Morgan's apartment, Ryder sneaks in looking for him but accidentally steps on the tracking GPS, alerting Morgan to his presence. Upon receiving the alert, Morgan quickly rushes to kill Ryder. Meanwhile, at Caldwell's mansion, Falk injects poison into Caldwell while he is asleep. He only has 1 hour to live, and Falk wants Morgan and her own file from him. If he gives her what she wants, she will give him the antidote. At the same time, Caldwell transfers her file to Morgan before showing it to her, and she deletes all of it. As Caldwell provides Morgan's file to her, she notices Morgan's girlfriend and sets a target on Sophie. After getting what she wants, Caldwell is brutally killed, leaving him in a painful death. The following morning, Morgan contacts Caldwell and is shocked when he hears someone's voice beside him. He receives another phone call from Falk, who brings up all of his history after receiving his file. Morgan vows to kill her after he finishes with Ryder. Unfortunately, Falk has Sophie's location and has sent Ryder to assassinate her. Morgan immediately contacts Sophie, urging her to leave quickly, but Ryder has already arrived. In that urgent moment, Morgan reports to the police about a shooter at the school. Fortunately, Sophie manages to survive another day when Ryder retreats after the police arrive. Later that night, Morgan decides to reveal the truth about himself. He takes her to his hidden room to show her his weapons and workplace. He explains that after leaving the Royal Marines, he meets a man named Caldwell, who acts as a mentor and introduces him to the world of assassination. Caldwell serves as a mediator between clients who want bad people killed. But when Sophie enters his life, everything changes, and he wants to quit being an assassin to spend his days with her. However, he is shocked to learn that Sophie is pregnant. Therefore, he gets her to a safe place. Morgan then goes to see Caldwell one last time and vows to seek revenge for him no matter what. At Ryder's hideout, Morgan finds many torture equipment and waits for Ryder to arrive. However, Falk, under Agent Voss's identity, is working for Yana. At the same building, they learn from the satellite footage that Morgan and Ryder are already there. Falk gets her team ready and deploys them to kill Morgan. Not long after, Ryder arrives and is shot dead right away. Nonetheless, Morgan is now covered by numerous police, so he pours fuel on the ground and sets it on fire to block their way. He then places a bomb to explode and jumps off the building in time. He continues his escape in an ambulance truck and makes it to the bridge. Unfortunately, he is cornered from every direction, leaving him with no way to run. He decides to drive off into the river and ignites the gas to explode the truck, making it seem like he's already dead. Eventually, he manages to get away. Later that night, Morgan kidnaps Leon again. He forces Leon to help him and reveal the truth about Agent Voss and Falk being the same person. With no choice, Leon decides to help him stop her. Leon then contacts Falk, pretending he has found Morgan's body. When she arrives, Morgan begins to attack her from behind. However, Falk proves to be great at close combat and manages to injure Morgan. Yet in the end, she is repeatedly beaten, and Morgan stabs her hand, attaching it to a wall. As he is about to finish her, the police approach and shoot him from behind, leading him to retreat immediately. While treating his wound, suddenly, he hears the news about Mariusz and finds out the location of where Yona is. Thus, he makes his way to meet Yona at her mansion. He lets her know that her uncle is the one who killed her father. In her reply, she reveals that her father was killed by an assassin like Morgan, hired by her uncle. That's why she wants to get rid of the assassins. She also reveals the $6 million she has spent are to stop her uncle and arrest the assassins by working with the agent. Morgan then realizes she has worked with Agent Voss, whom Yona doesn't know is the same person as Falk. The plan to set the assassins to kill each other is Falk's idea. Yona is shocked and unable to bring herself to believe when Morgan points out that Agent Voss is the assassin who killed her father. However, the $6 million haven't been transferred to any assassin yet, and Falk has all the money. But Yona receives word from the other agent that Falk has already died from a heart attack. Morgan checks on Falk to see if she's really dead, and as it is confirmed, he contacts Sophie to come back to him. At the hotel, he goes to meet Sophie at midnight, but he isn't able to stay with her for long as he fears it might be dangerous for her. The following day, Morgan collects everything he needs before going out. Surprisingly, his phone rings, and it's Falk again who contacts him to inform him that she is still alive. However, Sophie is captured by Falk, and upon learning this, Morgan rushes to the hotel immediately, and also calls Leon to help him. Unfortunately, Morgan activates the wire of the bomb, and if he takes his leg out, it will blow them up. He needs to wait 5 minutes for the bomb to expire, and Falk sets Sophie to drown in the bathtub. With no choice left, he hands her his gun, and soon after Leon arrives, he is shot by Falk. As Falk leaves, Leon crawls in pain to help Sophie from drowning, and when the bomb expires, Morgan manages to save Sophie from danger. Eventually, Falk is killed by Morgan. In the end, Morgan and Sophie live happily together, and in the last scene of the movie, it is revealed that Falk isn't dead yet. And this is the end of this movie. You can watch more videos like this by clicking on the middle, and stay safe.